Well, let's consider it's not only people leaving California, as I understand it, it's business
Oh yeah.
and manufacturing. So what you've actually got now is almost an emerging sort of feudal society because the wealthiest people in the world, or concentration of people in the world, surely Silicon Valley. I mean, it's stratospheric. They live in ways that none of the rest of us could ever even begin to imagine. Then manufacturing goes. Joel Kotkin makes this point. So your middle income jobs go, and I think I'm right in saying that he told me that some 80% of the emerging jobs in California, in as much as jobs emerge, are low paid, which in America, by Australian standards, is very low paid. It's pretty miserable stuff. So it becomes, if people say they actually care about the disadvantaged, if they really care about a fair go and an opportunity for young people, how long do you go on justifying that in terms of the language that, or the model that you just outlined that people say, oh, it's worse elsewhere. You can't hide it forever.
No, you can't hide it forever. And also saying you care and actually caring and do things that would illustrate that obviously are two very different things. So you're making a great point about the destruction of the middle class that's happened in these cities. So San Francisco is probably the best example of this. San Francisco, which was the hub of Silicon Valley, was just pumping out billionaire after billionaire after billionaire. And when you hear the lefties always complain about the billionaire class, it's like I've met a couple billionaires at this point, and they have huge staffs, and they pay tons of salaries, and they buy all sorts of properties and yachts and all sorts of things. And we can talk about how much they should be taxed, but they create something of value, and then that value trickles down into all sorts of jobs and everything else. What's happened now, unfortunately, because so many people have left, now you have this very thin layer of super rich people, and all of the people that they staff, who let's say would normally be middle class people, they don't want to live in the city of San Francisco anymore because of the drugs and the crime and everything else. About a year ago, I got a text randomly in the middle of the day, and it was Elon Musk asking me to go over to Twitter and meet with him that night. And I jumped on a plane and I somehow got there that night. And I stood in an office with Elon Musk at about 12:30 a.m. in San Francisco. And the office, it's a corner office, windows both ways. And he's standing there pointing out to me, okay, that's where they get the drugs, that's where they do the drugs, then they move like a blob, like a zombie movie, they move over there and that's where they all fall asleep. And we watched it happen. And that's what's happening all across San Francisco. So a middle class person no longer wants to live in San Francisco. So you have a lower class now and a drug-filled class and homelessness and all that. Restaurants closing every which way. You can't open up a mom and pop store anymore because riots could come. They can break your windows, whatever. The cops aren't going to stop if someone walks in and steals the items out of your store. So you have this lower class that's kind of crumbling. The middle class can't afford to live in the city. And now the elites over there, they are having trouble even staffing for themselves because nobody wants to live there. So it's a cascading problem. And again, just saying you're for these people, I mean, that's what the Democrats, or I would say the progressives, are really great at. We're for the poor people. We're for the black and brown people and the disadvantaged. Except every single one of their policies produces the opposite outcome. So at some point, I'm not that cynical of a person, but at some point you might think that maybe they're not doing this with the best of intentions. I don't think they could be that obtuse, let's put it that way.